So apparently as of yesterday, there's a brand new Adidas Confirmed App. I wonder if that means it's going to be easier for me to cop Yeezys. Probably not. What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler, and on today's Weekly Heat we talk about the brand new Adidas Confirmed App, these crazy new Pharrell Human Race NMDs, and also the fact that Louis Vuitton signed their first skateboarder. I know, it doesn't really make sense, but I'm into it. All of that and more to come on this week's Weekly Heat, so make sure to stay tuned, hit that subscribe button down below, and give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. But with that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So Adidas just relaunched their Confirmed app after closing down the original Confirmed app a couple months ago, and even though there are a couple changes, it still remains relatively the same. Unlike the original version of the app that just focused on releases and raffles, this new version of the app features some articles about the sneakers that are releasing and some more behind the scenes information. It actually sounds a lot like the Nike Sneakers app, and while that's not a bad thing, I just don't feel like it was necessary since they already had the Adidas app, which did the same thing. I'm sure Adidas has like a roadmap or a plan that's going to sort of separate the current Adidas app from the new Confirmed app, but what's interesting to me is why they had to completely redo the Confirmed app altogether. Like, I still had the old Confirmed app on my phone. It's not like they just updated the app. They created a whole brand new app, and I'm wondering what the reason for that was. To clarify if it's getting a little confusing, the first Adidas app, at least that I know of, was the original Adidas Confirmed app that released back in 2015 with the first Adidas Yeezys. The original Adidas Confirmed app pretty much only allowed you to enter raffles, and that was the extent of the app, and it finally got shut down near the end of last year. In addition to that, there's a standard Adidas app, which I believe launched a year or two ago, and what that does is just act as a mobile store. That's pretty much it. And up until yesterday, that app pretty much handled all the raffles and the draws. In fact, I just got the Yeezy 350 Israfils off that app. But now there's a brand new Adidas Confirmed app, which not only has raffles, but also gives some information about the sneaker. But that seems to be the entire purpose of the app. Maybe they're just trying to separate the hype releases from the regular releases, and they just don't want their Adidas app to crash every Saturday when raffles and stuff like that happen, but it's interesting to see them do, and I don't understand why they had to do it on a completely separate app. Whatever the reason, we can all hope that the brand new Adidas Confirmed app will give us more luck when it comes to new Yeezy releases and new Adidas releases, but we'll just have to wait and see. And actually, speaking of which, the brand new Yeezy 700 V3 Azarests that released this weekend are releasing on the Confirmed app and not on the Adidas app, so if you're planning to go for those guys, make sure to download the Confirmed app. After that, we've got some more information and official images of another sneaker which probably will release on the Adidas Confirmed app, and that's the Adidas Ultra 4D in Core White. I actually just picked up a pair of the OG Ultra 4Ds that released a week and a half ago and just dropped a review, so if you guys would like to know my thoughts on the sneaker overall, make sure to click that link at the top of the screen. But I've got to say that while I love the OG colorway of the shoe and I didn't feel like I was going to need any more Ultra 4Ds, this Core White colorway looks really good, which is annoying because the shoe's $220. I don't need to drop another $220 on a shoe that I'm not even going to wear that much because, let's be honest, it's not that comfortable. If you're not familiar with the Ultra 4D silhouette, it's essentially just an Ultraboost 1.0 upper put on top of a 4D midsole. It looks good and it's something we've been looking forward to for a long time, but for some reason Adidas decided to wait until 2020 to actually release this shoe. I talk about that a lot in the review, and I saw a bunch of comments saying that I was just a hype beast because I was mad that there was no hype behind the sneaker anymore. That's not the case. I just feel like Adidas really could have maximized their marketing dollars if they had released these shoes back then rather than now. Even though this Ultra 4D comes in the Core White colorway, it is a little bit different than the Core White Ultraboost 1.0s that just retroed a couple months ago. And the main difference, other than the 4D midsole, is the color itself. Even though the shoe is called the Core White, it comes in a much more cream color than the actual Core Whites, and when you compare the two shoes together, you'll really see the difference. I would guess that the reason that they did that is because the 3D printed midsole maybe can't come in a true white and instead can only come in kind of an off-white, and so maybe they tried to match the upper of the shoe to the midsole. That would really be my only guess, but even with that, I still think it's a good looking shoe. Although right now there isn't any solid release dates for this sneaker, because official images have come out of the shoe, I would assume that this shoe is going to release in the next couple weeks. So if you want to grab a pair of the Ultra 4Ds in Core White, make sure to stay on the lookout. Sticking with Adidas news and Ultraboost style sneakers, it looks like Adidas is actually dropping an entire Ultraboost 1.0 ncaa pack. This Ultraboost ncaa pack comes in 8 different colorways which represent 8 different schools, and of course they're all Ultraboost 1.0s. I remember back in like 2016 when the Miami PE Ultraboost 1.0 came out and it was reselling for thousands of dollars. It looks like they're trying to capitalize on that hype again, except this time around with different schools and in different colorways. But the most notable difference in my opinion is that all of the Boost midsoles in this pack are colored, whereas the original PEs didn't have colored Boost, and to be honest with you, I kind of like the white Boost over these crazy colored Boosts. Like I said, there are 8 schools included in the pack, and Miami is actually one of them, so I was wrong about that a couple seconds ago. I just fact checked myself, and I would could read you all of them, but I don't really care that much. None of them are my school, so if you guys really want to grab a pair of Adidas Ultraboost collegiate sneakers and you go to one of those schools, you probably already know about them. And if you would like to grab any of these shoes, it looks like they're dropping on September 4th on Adidas.com. Honestly, I would grab that maroon pair, and to be fair, they actually do have patches on the tongue that you can switch out from the college logo to the Adidas logo, but I'm just not a Texas A&M fan, so I'd feel weird rocking the sneakers. I guess in that case, I probably shouldn't be wearing Oregon Duck sneakers either, but I don't have any of those, so it's not a problem. Next up, it looks like Cactus Plant Flea Market is releasing some more collaboration Nike Air Force 1 lows. What's interesting about this release is that unlike the original release where they were all Nike by You sneakers, I think this time around they're just releasing as standard pairs. And the reason I say that is because in their promo image, there's only 3 colorways shown and they have a solid release date of September 10th. I totally missed out on the original release and I really wanted to grab a pair because I thought they were a pretty decent looking sneaker, but it looks like I have a chance to not grab a personalized one, but grab one that still looks pretty decent. And again, if you want to grab a pair of the Cactus Plant Flea Market Air Force 1 lows, it looks like they're releasing on September 10th. So like 3 days ago in the last weekly Heat video, I talked about the Shashiko Air Jordan 4s, and it looks like 3 days later we actually have full images of them. These Air Jordan 4s come in what seems to be sort of a mixed denim colored upper. You've got dark blue Japanese inspired denim, you've got red denim, you've got white denim, and all of the panels in the upper of the shoe either feature a printed design or that Shashiko embroidery and stitching. I knew I was going to like these sneakers when I first saw that leaked image last week, but now seeing the entire shoe, I love them. I think they look incredible. I'm also really into mismatched shoes, and I love the fact that one has a dark blue tongue and one has a red tongue, and then the lateral side of one shoe is white and the lateral side of the other shoe is blue. It's just all so cool, and it's definitely a shoe that I'm going to be going for. I mean, come on, even the box is dope. It looks just as good as the sneakers. As you probably expected, there is no official release date for these shoes yet, but they should be releasing sometime in the fall for a retail price of $190. For real though, I'm definitely going for these, and if you guys have the plug on these or just any other early sneakers, hit me up. Next up, we've got official images of the upcoming Nike Dunk High Doraemon. This Dunk High colorway is inspired by the main character from the Japanese manga Doraemon, which first released in the late 1960s and has since turned into a pretty popular Japanese anime series. The colors remind me a lot of the Stewie LeBrons, which I really like. Now, I don't know anything about Doraemon other than what I read on Wikipedia, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing the name of the series right, but apparently the series or the manga or the anime is about a cat from the future, like the 22nd century, who travels back in time to help out some people in a different century. It's a cat with no ears too, apparently that's the whole big thing. I'm not really sure, I don't understand it, but the colorway of this Nike Dunk High is dope. I'm really into that, and whether or not you know the series, I think we can all agree that it's a good looking pair of shoes. Now as for release information, there isn't a whole lot. Apparently they're releasing sometime later this year and exclusively at orange label skate shops, which means they're going to be very difficult to get because as you know, a lot of skate shops are really hard to buy Nike Dunks from. Not only that, there's lower quantities. It's going to be a really tough release, and if you grab these shoes, count yourself lucky because I really don't think there's going to be a lot of pairs available. Next up, it looks like Adidas and Pharrell have teamed up with the Network app for Transfer Festival, which is an entirely virtual festival. And what's so great and exciting about these two brands working together is that they're actually releasing 3 exclusive Pharrell Human Race NMD colorways. From what I've heard, these shoes are only dropping at Transfer Festival, which is happening right now, and apparently the shoes are dropping tonight if you're watching this video the day that it comes out. The colorways include a blue and orange pair which feature yellow text on top of the foot, a purple and tan pair which feature tan text on top of the foot. This is probably my second favorite pair. And then finally my favorite pair, this orange and blue pair which features this really cool new sort of stripe design around the sides. In fact, not only that, they also feature a brand new knit pattern which I'm really excited to see in person. I would assume that this is going to be the most limited colorway because it features a really cool new upper style, but I'm not 100% sure. And hey, if I can get my hands on this pair, I'll definitely give you guys a review. I really have no idea how limited these shoes will actually end up being, but because they're only releasing exclusively at this festival and online, I would expect that they're probably pretty limited. Regardless, if you want to grab them, great. I think you might have a pretty difficult time, to be honest with you. If you don't want to grab them because you're over Pharrell's, fine, but I'm excited about these shoes because it's nice to see some new Pharrell Human Race colorways coming out that are exciting again. And then rounding off the main news stories for today, it looks like Virgil Abloh has actually signed the very first Louis Vuitton skateboarder. I know, it's crazy. And that's Jamaican skateboarder Lucien Clark. But where it gets even crazier is that not only was Lucien signed to Louis Vuitton as a skateboarder, he gets to design his own sneaker. Virgil Abloh made sure that he had free reign over the design of the shoe, which is almost unheard of. First off, huge shout out to Virgil Abloh and Lucien Clark for doing something so cool and really breaking the mold when it comes to designer brands and skateboarding. They're obviously two incredibly talented dudes who are doing something that's never been done before, and I really look up to that, and I'm definitely going to be trying to grab a pair of these shoes for myself, if I can, if they don't sell out immediately, and if they're not, like a couple grand, which they probably will be. Now, as for the actual aesthetics of the shoe, I feel like they found a really good middle ground between skateboarding shoes and Louis Vuitton sneakers. It really looks like exactly what it is, which is kind of surprising for a first take on something. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys, it's not something that I would wear every day or even that often, but what really makes it special is the collaboration that's taking place. It would be so crazy to see a Louis Vuitton skate team. Can you imagine seeing a bunch of skaters dressed up in Louis Vuitton? That would be sick. And it actually wouldn't surprise me if it happens now because they've already sort of started that process by making a Louis Vuitton skateboarding shoe. Maybe I'm just completely fanboying here, but whenever I feel like Virgil Abloh has hit a wall and he's not really doing anything exciting anymore, he does something insane and it just blows my mind. And this is definitely one of those things. So make sure to stay tuned to the channel and hit that subscribe button down below because if I can grab a pair of these to review, I definitely will. But now getting into the weekly releases segment of the video, we're going to kick things off with an insanely hyped pack, and that's the Undefeated Nike Kobe 5 Pro Tro pack. This pack is releasing very soon on August 27th, which by the time this video is up should be tomorrow, and actually a lot of the raffles are probably already over, so you might have missed out if you didn't enter a raffle, but it's a crazy looking pack. It's got two different pairs of shoes. The multicolored pair actually has a really cool story behind it, which makes it so much cooler for me, and that's the fact that it draws colors from each of the 12 teams that originally passed on Kobe Bryant in the draft. And then the other pair in the pack, which comes in primarily white, gold, and blue, references the Charlotte Hornets, who drafted Kobe Bryant but then traded him away immediately. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I originally didn't love this pack, but now that I understand the story behind the pack and the inspiration that makes up these colorways, I'm a lot more into it. And if I can grab a pair, which I really doubt, I will definitely grab it and review it. Then moving on to August 29th, we've got the Adidas Sean Witherspoon Super Earths. So the concept behind this shoe is that it's made up of some recycled materials, but also materials that don't use any kind of animal byproducts, which means that there aren't any animal skins on this shoe. Instead, this shoe uses synthetic leathers. It also has recycled paper laces, which I'm really interested to see. And overall, it's a cool concept. Now visually, I don't love this shoe. I'm not a huge fan of the embroidered flowers that kind of fall off the shoe. I think it's a cool look, but it's not something that I would ever really wear on a day-to-day basis. But based on what people have been saying about this shoe, it seems like it's actually going to be a pretty hyped up sneaker. So if you're a fan of the way that this sneaker looks, or the idea behind it, or even Sean Witherspoon for that matter, I think this is a great shoe to pick up. Next, like I mentioned earlier, we've got the Adidas Yeezy 700 V3 Azareths. The 700 V3 in general is a dope silhouette. I love the way it looks, I love how futuristic it is, but when this shoe comes in this all blue looking upper, I'm obsessed. I think it's a great looking sneaker. I love when the Yeezy brand uses colors that they don't usually use, and blue, surprisingly enough, is not a color that they often use. So pair this solid colorway with a really solid sneaker and you've got an overall dope release. The one thing I don't like about the 700 V3s is how they fit. I feel like they fit a little bit small, and if I grab a pair for myself, I'm going to grab a size 9.5 and not a size 9 because it just fits that much better. But if you have a chance to grab these, I would suggest grabbing them because they're going to sell out pretty much immediately. After that, we've got another Kobe 5 Pro Tro dropping, this time in the girls EYBL colorway. This Kobe 5 Pro Tro colorway comes in primarily forest green with hits of grays, yellows, and oranges. And based on the fact that most other EYBL sneaker releases were limited to only people involved in the EYBL, I would actually assume that this is going to be one of the most limited Kobe's to drop during Mamba Week. I could be wrong about that, especially since this shoe is dropping on the Sneakers app, and usually super limited sneakers don't drop on the Sneakers app and drop more in like limited stores like the Undefeated Pack, but who knows. And then finally, rounding off the weekend releases, we've got the Union LA Jordan Brand Sophomore pack. I've talked about this pack a bunch, so by this point you probably already know all there is to know about this pack, but this August 29th release is only happening at Union LA's store and also on their website. This pack will re-release later on down the road on September 30th on both the Sneakers app and some other stockists, but right now it looks like it's exclusive to Union LA. As you already probably know, the pack includes a Zoom 92, a Jordan Delta Mid, and two Air Jordan 4s. Obviously, the Jordan 4s are going to be the most hyped sneakers in this pack, but I know the other two sneakers in the collection are going to sell out just as fast. It's really looking like Saturday, August 29th is going to be a super busy release day, so because of that, I might actually do a live cop, so if you guys want to tune in for that, make sure to hit that subscribe button because I'd love to try and cop some of these sneakers with you guys and share our W's and our L's, which probably will mostly be L's. But that pretty much wraps up Weekly Heat for this week. Now, I would love to know your thoughts on all of the stories that we talked about in today's video, in particular Louis Vuitton signing a skateboarder. That's something that I never thought would happen, but it's really cool. I don't know, but I'd love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet, and I'll see you all in the next one.